everyone. We got to change the energy in this room. All kidding aside, you guys are about to change the internet. And we're all here sitting like with these faces. Come on. Get up. Get up. Give me a round of applause, please. Woo. All right. That's more like it. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So if I can get to our presentation. Yes, I think I'm there. All right, so I'm here to talk about .co. I was asked to keep it short, and I promise I will. So we're going to go over some of these things very, very quickly. Happy to talk about some of the detail afterwards or during the Q&A. So a little bit of the history of the company. As Roland mentioned, we took over the operation of .co in early 2010. We received it with 28,000 domains, a lot of them in the third level, or actually all of them in the third level. So for example, Google in Colombia used to own google.com.co, or they still do. And that's how they operate in Colombia. But the real opportunity with .co, of course, was to rebrand it and launch it as an alternative to .com, .net, .org, and launch it as a global brand. And that's the role that that's the mandate that we were given. So there were some pre-launch activities in 2010. A lot of it was focused on enlisting early adopters, incredible companies to use the name. The biggest hit we had prior to the launch was we were able to get Twitter to use t.co as their official URL shortener. So every URL out there that's shortened by Twitter, you would see the t.co domain. What did that do? What is the significance of that? The significance is that you have a major internet company in Silicon Valley, one of the most influential companies out there, basically saying that it's okay to use .co. The credibility that gave us prior to the launch was humongous, and that really is one of the major drivers in the company's success, was getting that company to use the domain. How that relates to you is, if I can give you my 2 cents of advice, focus on a few early adopters that are going to drive your brand. In our case, we were fortunate to get Twitter. A couple of other highlights during the timeline of the company. Of course, a lot of people know us for our Super Bowl ads, and joint Super Bowl ads with GoDaddy. We've done 3 of them already. We also have a very innovative membership program, which we'll talk about later in more detail. And I think the coolest milestone in our company was actually something that goes largely unnoticed. At least it's something that it's hard to. It's not so tangible, but it's incredibly valuable for us. And it's the fact that in a period of 1 week, there were 9 .co companies featured on TechCrunch. 9 companies that use the .co domain featured on TechCrunch. And for our target market, it just doesn't get better than that. We're at 1.5 million domains. A couple of examples of use cases. So a company like AngelList, it's the world's largest angel investor network. Goodies.co is actually a Walmart brand. Very exciting use case, because it's a major company like Walmart, who obviously has the resources to go out and buy a .com, and instead they decide to build their product on .co. Vine is another Twitter product that just launched recently. Very, very exciting product for us as well. It's just generating a massive awareness. So that's the history of .co, and let me sort of frame some of the issues that drove us to do some of the things that we're doing today. If you look at the TLD industry, the registry industry, not the registrar industry, but just the registry industry, what are some of the structural problems with it? One is that they're treated like utilities. Every single TLD out there is treated like utilities. It's very difficult to differentiate in that world. What happens in a world of utilities is price drops. That becomes your major point of competition, is can you sell it cheaper? Number 2, there's channel saturation. The top 5 registrars control 80% of the new ad market, essentially, and that's difficult to work with. And number 3, it's highly regulated. It attracts all the policy wonks. So there you have the makings of an extremely boring industry, with all due respect. So we looked at that, and developed a strategy that, without getting into the specific detail of the strategy, but just things that you can apply as well, we built a strategy around two major concepts. One was we needed to decommoditize the brand. We needed to decommoditize .co. And to do that, we needed to build a brand. In our case, we're building a brand around innovation. And two, we wanted to increase the value proposition. We wanted to change the game. We want people to go to GoDaddy or to Network Solutions or to any of the registrars out there, and we want them to go there thinking about buying .co, not looking at the drop-down and trying to decide which one to buy. If we go that route, they're going to buy the cheapest one or they're going to buy .com. Excuse me. So changing the value proposition. Those are the two big conceptual sort of pillars of the company. In terms of identifying, to execute on that, we needed to identify a target market. In our case, because we are differentiating the brand around innovation, we had to align ourselves with the Michael Jordans of tech, right? Companies like Google, Twitter, et cetera. Everything that we do in the company, everything our 30 employees do is basically run around the world getting to those tech stars, the Michael Jordans. And why? Michael Jordan wears Nike. Everybody in college basketball is going to want to wear Nike. Those are the web entrepreneurs. And if everybody in college basketball wears Nike shoes to play basketball, your weekend Warrior basketball player is going to want to wear Nike shoes as well. And so it's the trickle-down effect or trickle-out, however you want to call it. So that is where we focus most of our time. Specifically, we enlisted the help of guys like the ones you see here. I'm not sure why Paul Sloan is there because that's not a specific case, but Naval Ravikant, Dave McClure, Loic Lemur, those guys probably mean nothing to you, but in the world of tech, they are the Michael Jordans, and they endorse our brand. We then expand that through global partnerships with incubators, event companies, communities, and co-working spaces, again, all around innovation. And to give you some examples of specific execution, if you're familiar, anybody familiar with Startup Weekend? Okay. Startup Weekend has, they do events, about 750 events per year during a 54-hour period during a weekend. So, for example, they'll have one in London. It starts on a Friday, it ends on Sunday. And during that time frame, everyone at the event needs to build a company. So we partnered with them, and we get them to use a .co domain as part of their efforts. We do a lot of branding around the event, and we offer every single event participant a .co scholarship. So it's a really important aspect of the strategy. You're hitting three very important variables in the growth of a TLD. You're getting a use case, right? You're generating awareness through branding, and you're generating actual growth. You're able to generate registrations at those events. So we measure every single thing from a marketing standpoint that we do around those three things. The same thing with the Super Bowl ad. We get GoDaddy use GoDaddy.co. We do a side campaign called YourBigIdea.co. There's a lot of awareness, 110 million viewers in one ad. And there's a lot of growth tied to the relationship with GoDaddy. And lastly, in terms of changing the value proposition, if you're a .co customer, you get access to a platform that gives you education, promotion, and networking opportunities. So it doesn't matter where you register the domain, you can come to you can come to the platform and get access to these things. A good example of that is Luxor, a company that recently started using a .co domain. It's an online education business. They put up an offer in the platform for other .co companies where those other .co companies could get access to a free class on Luxor. So that ties it all back to creating that sense of community. It becomes a real value proposition for our customers. Happy to tell you a lot more. Unfortunately, we don't have time.